Time for Flashback. Tracks from the past. Today with stories from the retro past.
It's time for another retro game story. We haven't done these for years now, so it's something that has to be fixed right now. And today's game is Utopia from Gremlin Software. Time for the creation of a nation in space, because space is awesome. First out today is Barry Leitch with the intro song from the game itself. Enjoy! was 1991, and that was when Utopia was released for the Amiga, Atari and the PC. It was a bold decision trying to cater to the Amiga platform. In this year it was in steady decline and the Amiga 1200 had not yet even been released. But I digress. This game was not the success Gremlin had hoped for, but it was remembered by several retro gamers throughout the ages. I will talk more about my theories as to why it didn't succeed, but we must start with the basics. You know, the game story, the gameplay, the graphics and the sound. But first, let's go to music. Here comes Shadabim and Element Wind. Let's delve into the game itself. I played it on my Amiga in the early 90s. It starts out with a nice clip show telling you the story of the man you will play as in the game. He is unable to stop an attack on his own colony and finally gives his unfortunate order to abandon it and flee. But you see, this was only a simulation, and it had no solution. He heeded Sun Tzus' 34th stratagem and fled. This was the correct action, and he passes the test. I guess this is how the Kobayashi-Maru scenario in Star Trek was actually intended to play out, by the way. And you have your Picard-style administrator. Yeah, he's bald. The game starts when he's assigned a role of a colony leader on an uncharted planet. The honeymoon, however, is soon over, as the planet has its own set of insectoids already living there. And as history has shown us so many times before, only one species will be left standing. Time for some music. It's Melodia and a study in AOX major. Alright, Utopia then. It plays like a mix of SimCity and a real-time strategy game. This was before the latter genre even existed. So you have to manage the budget, the enemies, the need of the people, and the QOL. QOL? Yes, that's the main metric, and it's called quality of life. It has a value that ranges between 0 and 100, and keeping it as high as possible is imperative. If it starts sinking, your utopia becomes a dystopia. Crime rates shoot up, and if it sinks low enough, someone will put a price on your head. If you fail this way, you will meet the most mild-mannered assassin ever, and then it's, game over. So, to keep your people happy while funding your spy network and preparing for the inevitable war that the whole game will be about, well, you build warehouses, living quarters, power plants, and airbases. Also, this is not the world of today. You have to keep a balanced budget. But we have to go on with some more music here. It's Dippy and Diskmag. The graphics is something really nice. By the standards of the day, it was a little bit stale maybe, but it has aged well in my opinion. The buildings look nice, and the graphics are your typical 16-bit era pixel graphics. Your console is manned by aliens and some woman that looks mostly human. It's well drawn and gives the game a very visual appeal. The screens show statistics, so you can fix the budget, know if your people are angry, and know what needs to be built next. I have played the game on my Amiga 500, and it was showing its age already back then. But as far as I remember, it was running smoothly. And I had a final cartridge too, which meant that I could pause the game and edit the memory contents on my Amiga. I amused my little brother Philip by changing some of the game's warnings, the text, So attacks were named Philip attacks, and he loved it. Well, that's the story so far. Next up is another song. It's JustOrb and the Honingemmer. The music, you know this one. It was Barry Leitch, and that was the tune we started this episode with. If your pod player can handle chapters, feel free to jump back to it and enjoy some of the best Amiga mod music there ever has been. Not to be that guy, but the music eventually becomes tedious as you only have 4 songs in the game. One of them is pretty nice, but what should we say, an unimaginative version of Pachelbel's Canon D. Where have you heard that one before? Well, everywhere. There are even some rap songs using it. Still, until you get tired of it, it's nice to have it in the background. And some music, we are going on with ASIKWUSpulse, Summer Bells in Space. The game is funny and engaging. You must eventually go up against those pesky bugs. To quote Ron Perlman from some obscure game, War never changes. This means you first must have your spy network reporting on what's happening, and having them at peak efficiency is expensive. Then you have to build an army. The war machine then attacks the enemies off-map, and you get a report that is as detailed as your spies have the budget to do. It will take lots of time to rout the enemies, and they can and they will attack you, well, if you don't deal with them soon enough. We are going on with Tzus and Cryptomnesia. Are there any bad sides to the game? Well, when the bugs have been eliminated, the game goes on autopilot. It spams you with requests to fix various shortages. You must also fight the quality of life issues that pop up. Then there is not much going on. It has the same problem as SimCity did, without its obvious solution. In SimCity you can always bring cool disasters to spice things up a little. Then you rebuild the damage until you get bored and bring another disaster along. I once blew up a nuclear power plant in SimCity 3000. The area was forever irradiated. Utopia does not bring any such solutions to the table. It just gets tedious all the time. And when you played all maps with different bug enemies, it does not offer that much of replay value. But in small doses, this game offers many hours of great nation building. Well, time to go on with Fear of Dark and elaborate funk. Why didn't it become a classic and a legendary game? Well, the reviews were raving and a lot of people liked the game. But here's my take of it. It was released before RTS was a thing. RTS stands for real-time strategy, and Utopia plays like a prototype for such a game. Games like Dune 2, Red Alert and Command & Conquer gained popularity soon after and prospered in the time span between mid-90s and mid-noughties. It was also released to PC, but it did not seem to have that much of a big impact. A sequel was released, but I don't know much about it. The Amiga went away in 1994, so it was in a steady decline even back then. There were not much you could do to save it. Also, Well, it kind of didn't really look like games like SimCity or Civilization. It was a novel idea that went under as it failed to be interesting in the long run. But for me it was easy. I loved the game. It was exactly my kind of game, with a mix of management, strategy and a real-time war. It may not have been a game that stood the test of time, but it kind of built a legacy of its own. Music, you say? Yes, let's listen to Shaddy and a theme from Simon Belmont. It's time to say goodbye for now. We'll be back in a week. You're listening to Flashback, Tracks from the Past, and I'm DJ Daemon. Most of the music you heard today was from 2025, and some of it was also from 2026. We are going on with Fear of Dark, Hell Freezes Over. Leading you into that good night is the last song of the episode. That would be Nico 4211 and Aquatic Ambience. See you in a week, and remember that we are available on ericade.radio.